In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest Bitcoin technical analysis as we maintain on top of 43,000. And breaking news just in, Argentina eliminates taxes on Bitcoin. Let's freaking go. And quoting the high priest Bitcoin Max Kaiser, as predicted, Bitcoin miners in the US will be commandeered by the government. Bitcoin held in various ETFs will get seized, with holders getting cash. The threat to the fiat money war machine has reached a critical juncture. Self-custody or lose it. So there, you've been warned. Also in today's show, cryptocurrency thrives in China against all odds. I'll be breaking down this latest report, as well as Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele's Bitcoin strategy unwavering amid the elections. That's right, he's set to be reelected here on February 4th. It's going to be lit. We'll also be discussing spot Bitcoin ETFs at 151,000 BTC amidst the GBTC dump in January. I'll be breaking down the latest there, as well as Bitcoin price showing 60,000 potential as the MVRV metric copies the Bitcoin bull cycles. We'll also be discussing Samson Mow justifies Bitcoin price hitting $1 million. I'll be sharing his latest Bitcoin price prediction, $1 million Bitcoin game plan. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more in today's show. If you're new to the channel, be sure to smash that subscribe button to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, just like this. Also important to smash the likes. It helps pump the stream and also helps out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. Also important to turn on all notifications by hitting that sexy bell icon. That way you get notified when I go live, because each and every day it switches up, just FYI. Today is pod episode number 1538. I'm your host, JV, and today is February 1st, 2024. Let's freaking go. Let's kick it off with our market watch as we do each and every day. Bitcoin back in the green, baby. Up 0.25% on the day, trading at roughly 43,200. We have Link also up 9%, trading above 17 bucks, while Ether, BNB, XRP, Solana, Cardano, and AVAX all correcting. And in the red, they say, when in doubt, JV, just zoom out. Zooming out on the monthly, we still got Bitcoin in the green and most of the other top alts in the red. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, let's get a refresh for the latest data. We're currently sitting at a 1.65 trillion market cap with roughly 64.5 billion in volume for the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance back down some. Yesterday it was like 54%. Today it's 51.4%, with the Ether dominance on the decline at 16.8%. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers for the past 24 hours, we have Pith Network leading the pack, up 10%, followed by Chainlink up 9%, followed by Render up 4.5%. Below that, we have BitGet tokens, Celestia, Chiliz, and Immutable. Now, which altcoins, if any, fam, are you most bullish on for this bull cycle? Holla at your boy. And checking out the crypto bubbles to get a visual perspective on the daily. Definitely safe to say the majority of the alts are correcting and in the red, with the biggest bloodbath of an alt being Samcoin FTT, ironic enough. And some of the big gainers, as we mentioned earlier, Pith, Render, and Link. And zooming out on the monthly, definitely also majority in the red, with just a handful of pretty substantial gains, including eHex, SU, PLS, Hex, Tau, and Ron. And with that being shared, checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index. Today we're 63 greed, yesterday 60, last week a 52 neutral, and last month a 71 in greed. And checking out the Bitcoin halving clock, we're only 76 days out until the biggest event in crypto, which only occurs every 4 years, known as the Bitcoin halving. I can't wait. The estimated date is currently set to be April 18th. So could you imagine? It's like 2.5 months out. The countdown continues, and we'll be counting down each and every day, because you already know Bitcoin halving is a pretty big deal around these streets, if you know what I mean. But with that being shared, family, let's now dive into our Bitcoin technical analysis, aka astrology for men, and check out the Bitcoin price and where we're likely to head next from here. We got Bitcoin to recover their losses from February 1st after the monthly close turned sour for the Bitcoin price action. Here you're looking at the Bitcoin 1 hour candle chart. TradingView tracked Bitcoin as it bounced around $1,000 off the lows of 41.8 on Bitstamp. These immediately followed the January candle close, leaving Bitcoin just 0.6% higher for the first month of 2024. Hey, at least we closed in the green. The bulls face continued struggles to reclaim lost ground after a 20% dive from 2-year highs of 49,000. And as February began, calls for new lows remain only from the perma bears pretty much. In an update, trading resource material indicators flag new downside tips from its proprietary trading tools, quoting them here. Monthly charts doesn't necessarily mean the price will make a lower low this month, but it does indicate that the price will not make a new high this month unless the new trading signals invalidate. That said, I'd be surprised if we didn't at least see Bitcoin test support at the local low of 38.5 before the end of the month. And as they share here, new signals from the trend precognition on the Bitcoin and Ether monthly charts doesn't necessarily mean as I ultimately just mentioned, family. So 38.5 marks January's low at the trough of the 20% Bitcoin price pullback. Now, matters were not helped by the macroeconomic developments released by Jay Powell here just the other day, January 31st. The U.S. Fed, while holding interest rates in line with expectations, sought to stem bets of rate cuts in the first half of the year. That move is keenly anticipated by risk asset traders as monetary easing boosts liquidity conditions. Quoting their official press release, in considering any adjustments to the target range for the federal funds rate, the committee will carefully assess incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risk. The committee does not expect it will be appropriate to reduce the target range until it has gained greater confidence that inflation is moving sustainably towards 2%. Now, that's a bunch of hogwash because you can't get inflation at 2% when we're truly at 15 to 20%. So it's just they just fudge the numbers and they can say anything they want, but it's all an illusion. And I think you guys recognize the game they're playing, right? So data from the CME Group FedWatch tool put the odds of a cut at the Fed's March meeting at 45%. Now, the first day of February, today, saw around 6,200 Bitcoin in outflows from GBTC per live data from Arkham. Those were in line with the recent days, but still considerably below the daily peak of 25,000 BTC. Since its conversion to the spot Bitcoin ETF, as Dan Crypto Trade shares here, today's Bitcoin sent out by GBTC Grayscale comes out to be 6.2 thousand or 270 million worth. Slightly down from yesterday, this one took a while to come in as there was no block mined or nearly for an entire hour. So that's interesting. Now, the U.S. spot Bitcoin ETF saw net inflows of nearly 200 million from January 31st. Also, the total net inflows 1.46 billion thus far since launch, as James Safart points out right here. So this is breaking and smashing all records in ETF history in comparison to all other ETFs. And we're just getting started, and they're mass accumulating like it ain't no thing. And checking out here, this is breaking news. Argentina, we know we have a new Bitcoin-friendly president, Javier Milei. Well, guess what? He officially eliminating taxes on Bitcoin. So could this be a sign of the times? Could this be the next step before massive Bitcoin adoption in the country of Argentina, which I believe has a population of roughly 40 million? Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's a pretty substantial population. So this is pretty big news. Someone put here, the article says Argentina introduced a bill that eliminates the existing tax. In that language, in your view, equivalent to Argentina eliminates taxes. So just FYI, I didn't actually read this article, so it may be they're planning to eliminate taxes on cryptocurrency. Just FYI. Now, here's what the high priest had to share in regards to this tweet from Marty Bent. If you're an operator in the Bitcoin mining industry in the U.S., it is imperative you ignore this survey and tell the EIA, the Department of Energy, and the current administration to F off. Here's what they have in store for you. So I guess this is regarding this Sleepy Joe BS on, I guess, trying to crack down on Bitcoin miners, which is quite interesting. Max Kaiser responded to this, so I wanted to read you Max's response. As predicted, Bitcoin miners in the U.S. will be commandeered by the government. Bitcoin held in various ETFs will get seized, with hodlers getting cash. The threat to the fiat money war machine has reached a critical juncture. Self-custody or lose it. So there you have it. He's straight up telling you, man, they're cracking down on Bitcoin mining because they deem Bitcoin an enemy. And to them it is, because it decapitates the head of the central banking cartels. And he also is straight up telling you their plan is to seize all of the Bitcoin through the ETFs. So be careful and don't trust BlackRock and Fidelity and these people who shouldn't earn our trust. And let's not forget, a few years ago, CEO of BlackRock, the world's largest asset manager, Mr. Lawrence Fink, said Bitcoin Bitcoin's an index for money laundering. And now he has joined the bandwagon. So times have changed, but at the same time, they can't be trusted. Max also tweeted, I orange pill Alex Jones at $5. Rusty Rockets, who is Russell Brand at $200, and Tucker Carlson at $16,000. Now, interesting backstory. He also offered Alex Jones 10,000 Bitcoin. The story is Alex lost it on the laptop, and then more recently, he offered him another opportunity to regain 10,000 Bitcoin for answering 5 very basic Bitcoin-related questions in which any of you would have been able to answer without even hesitation. Alex failed once again. And for Rusty Rockets, he also gifted, I don't remember the exact amount, but he did gift him a lot of Bitcoin. It may have been 1,000 or a few hundred. I don't know the exact amount off the top of my head, but that's the kind of guy Max is. He'd just be gifting his friends Bitcoin like it ain't no thing. So it's good to note he also orange pilled Tucker at 16, and that's true because I remember the interview back when Tucker had his station or his channel or news show on Fox, and since then he has moved to X. But he also read, had they committed to Bitcoin, they would not be talking about God and Satan. They would be free from all of that. So there you have it, crypto fam. Let me know your thoughts on all that breaking news, and where do you think we're likely to go this month of February as far as the Bitcoin price action is concerned? Do you see 50,000 in the cards? Can you see 60,000? Think we'll trade sideways until the halving? Do you think we'll correct back in the higher 30s? Let me know your thoughts. All right, guys, let's dive into our next story of the day, discuss the latest with China. According to some reports, crypto is thriving in China. And also I shared breaking news the other day, not that it's mainland China, but on the outskirts, we have Hong Kong, and they got their first spot Bitcoin ETF applicant, and they're trying to usher in this spot Bitcoin ETF to compete with the United States. But crypto enthusiasts in China are more willing to invest heavily in crypto than their counterparts in Vietnam, South Korea, Thailand, and Taiwan. This is according to a December 2023 report by Vietnamese venture capital firm with the assistance of 10 media agencies from China, Thailand, Korea, Taiwan, and Vietnam. In the 5,000 participant survey, more than 70% of participants said crypto accounted for more than half their asset portfolio. Wow, they must have really basically polled people who were very, I guess you would say, investing savvy, because I'd say the majority of the people most definitely in China are not holding cryptocurrency, but I guess the group of people they polled must. Now, however, 33% of Chinese investors hold a large amount of stable coins. Interesting. Now, 33.3. What does that mean, crypto fam? You already know. Placing them in second place with Vietnam with 58.6% of its investors holding stables. Except for Vietnam and China, most investors in other countries have reduced their holdings in stable coins, indicating they are more risk adverse with investments in crypto assets. Now, I would beg to differ and say there's less risk keeping your portfolio in Bitcoin than there is with a stable coin. We've seen stable coins get depegged. Yeah, I mean, now don't get me wrong. Some stable coins I like, such as Tether, USDT, I trust them. But other stables like USDC, I do not trust whatsoever. So I would definitely say that's a risky stable coin to be holding. Now, China is officially one of the world's most challenging jurisdictions for crypto. Beijing, if you remember, banned crypto trading back in 2021, the year of the all-time high. And authorities have detained, fined, and jailed people for just working in the crypto sector. Wow. Despite the government agency ban, the majority of investors in China chose to trade on centralized exchanges. According to the report, Thailand in particular had the lowest rate of stablecoin holders at only 22%. However, China is set to amend its anti-money laundering regulations to include crypto-related transactions. And according to the report, throughout 2023, self-custody, crypto news, and community groups and key opinion leaders were the 3 main information channels preferred by many investors in these 5 countries. News media are preferred by more than 70% of the Thai and Chinese investors. I think that's insane. I'd be listening to JV's podcast, but I digress. By the end of 2023, the regulatory landscape for the crypto industry in Asia has seen significant development with growing momentum. Hong Kong in particular has been at the forefront, looking to make Hong Kong a crypto hub, which it's actually becoming, and we may get this spot Bitcoin ETF approval soon out of there as well, as it recently issued their first crypto exchange licenses last year in 2023. Also, South Korea passed new legislation last year to protect crypto users, increase transaction transparency, and promote market discipline. South Korea's National Pension Service has shown a positive outlook on the crypto industry by acquiring coin shares valued at $19.9 million. Meanwhile, Taiwan's principal financial regulator, the Financial Supervisory Commission, considered allowing crypto exchange traded funds, ETFs, in the country, but only after analyzing the product's development and other markets worldwide. So there you have it. I mean, clearly they can't stop it. If China and the rest of the world governments had the power to stop Bitcoin, they would have over a decade ago. They can try to ban it, but it'll just make it more popular. We know how that works. So a sign of the times, if they can't stop it, you can't beat it. Join it. Let's discuss the latest with Mr. Bukele in El Salvador and what's happening right now. The headline reads, Salvadoran president's Bitcoin strategy unwavering amid the elections. As El Salvador prepares for the general elections, Vice President Felix has expressed confidence that the country will keep its commitment to Bitcoin if his party is reelected. And interesting, I was at the post office this morning in Puerto Rico, and there was a gentleman next to me that wouldn't stop looking at me. And then he eventually asked me, "Oh, Bukele, where'd you get that hat?" I'm like, "Are you a fan of Bukele?" He said, "Yes, absolutely." And I said, "Do you think Bukele is going to win the re-election?" He said, "Absolutely. The people love him." He's like, over 90% of the people are voting for him. So I'm like, wow, the people here in Puerto Rico know about Bukele. That's what's up. And then he asked, where can I buy one of those hats? And I referred him to Bukele2024.com, or just search Bukele 2024. You should be able to find the merch. But nonetheless, I digress. So anyways, he's on leave to run this re-election with President Bukele, who doubled down on El Salvador's adoption of Bitcoin as legal tender following the upcoming elections, according to Reuters. And according to I don't know how to pronounce that last name, so I'm just going to call him Felix. The International Monetary Fund, which is the IMF, has once again approached El Salvador to reconsider its Bitcoin policies during negotiations for a $1.3 billion loan. The official said the government of El Salvador has no intention of reversing the decision. Good for them. Adding that the launch of the spot ETF in the U.S. in early January 2024 has only added more enthusiasm. Good point. Quoting him here. Not only will the law be maintained at this moment, it enjoys the greatest credibility of the entire world, said Felix. He also mentioned that constructing El Salvador's tax-free Bitcoin city, can you say tax-free? Bitcoin city, and issuing passports to investors who contribute the equivalent of 1 million in Bitcoin would also go ahead. Now, scheduled for February 4th, 3 days, family, I believe that's Monday, El Salvador's general elections will elect the president, vice president, and all 60 deputies of legislative assembly. Despite facing some criticism, El Salvador's Bukele appears to be on track to win a 72nd five-year term, so their terms are 5 versus 4 as it's here in the United States, with an estimated 69.9% of voters reportedly approving his re-election bid. So before Bukele, presidents of El Salvador have been limited to 1 term. Interesting. So will Bukele, it sounds like, be the second president to be re-elected on a 5-year term in El Salvador, setting precedent once again. So shout out to Bukele, and I'm looking forward to these volcano bonds. I'm looking forward to the El Salvador Bitcoin ETF with Bitcoin in and Bitcoin out. I'm looking forward to Bitcoin City, tax-free. Let's go. Anyways, family, keep pumping the likes to pump the stream. I appreciate it. But let's dive into our next story of the day and discuss the latest with the Bitcoin ETFs. The headline reads, spot Bitcoin ETFs at 151,000 Bitcoin amidst GBTC dump in January. So ultimately, there was a big transfer of Bitcoin from GBTC into, now being custodied in Coinbase via BlackRock as well as these others. So the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust aggressively sold Bitcoin in January, but other ETFs bought significantly more. And according to holdings data, GBTC dumped a total of 132,000 Bitcoin in January, reducing its Bitcoin stash by 21% from 619,000 Bitcoin on January 11th to 487,000 Bitcoin on January 31st. The other 9 funds were actively catching up, adding a combined total of 151,000 Bitcoin since the first trading day. The non-GBTC ETFs have increased their holdings by more than 700% from 18,390 Bitcoin at the start of the trading to 169,396 Bitcoin as of January 31st. So as of January 31st, all 10 spot Bitcoin ETFs collectively held 656,000 Bitcoin, up around 3% from the initial holdings of 637,000 Bitcoin. We're at 27 billion at the time, according to CoinGecko. The track data is based on publicly publicly available Bitcoin ETF information reported by issuers, including the updated data from BlackRock's iShare Bitcoin Trust, and according to the publicly reported data, IBIT continued to increase its Bitcoin holdings on the last day of January, adding 2,700 Bitcoin on January 31st. Now, IBIT's holdings data doesn't correspond with the information by the blockchain platform Arkham Intelligence, which on January 23rd identified the on-chain addresses of 6 spot Bitcoin ETFs, including IBIT. And according to Arkham's data, BlockShares iShares Bitcoin ETF holds roughly 57,500 Bitcoin at this time. And as Cointelegraph approached Arkham for comment regarding the discrepancy, but had yet to receive a response. Once they do, we'll keep you posted. So despite all 10 spot Bitcoin ETFs adding 3% in total holdings in January, Bitcoin has seen a significant drop in price over the past 30 days. After starting the year at around 45,000, Bitcoin faced significant turbulence, tumbling all the way down to 39,000 January 23rd. But at this time, we're back up, fam, at 43,000. And in my opinion, 50,000 is around the corner. Many analysts and executives saw the launch of the Bitcoin ETFs in the US as a sell the news moment, with some analysts suggesting that more pressure could come from the futures market. And in late 2023, ARK Invest CEO, every broski's favorite, Cathie Wood, predicted that some investors would sell on the news of spot Bitcoin ETF approval in the short term. However, the long-term perspective is still promising, according to Cathie Wood. So there you have it, family. What are your thoughts on these ETFs? How many Bitcoin do you think they're likely to accumulate at this rate, knowing they've now accumulated over 150,000? Let me know. And with that being shared, let's dive into our next story of the day, discuss this $60,000 target more short term, which would take us close to price discovery mode, with the current all-time high being 69,000. Then the latest with Samson Mow and his $1 million Bitcoin game plan, and a brand new article which was just published, and we'll be discussing what he has up his sleeves as well, as I'm a big fan of Samson Mow. So yeah, here's this headline: Bitcoin price shows 60,000 potential as the MVRV metric copies the Bitcoin bull cycles. Bitcoin is primed for a surge as it channels classic bull market signals from the past. On a post, we had Ali, a commentator, eyed the history repeating itself on the classic Bitcoin price indicator. Bitcoin may be struggling on the lower time frames in the wake of the spot Bitcoin ETF releases, but zooming out, the picture remains optimistic. Hence, when in doubt, zoom out. So for this analyst, one of the various encouraging signs comes from the market value to realized value, known as the MVRV metric, the classic tool for measuring what on-chain analytics firm Glassnode calls Bitcoin's fair value. When MVRV deviates significantly from the mean, it tends to coincide with bull market tops and bear market bottoms. Currently, the Bitcoin USD MVRV is focusing on the mean level, crossing it from both above and below in a style that characterized both the 2016 and 2020, which were the previous halvings, just before a run to all-time highs, which was the year preceding the halving. So during the past bull markets, Bitcoin rebounded strongly after touching the mean MVRV pricing band. We're witnessing a similar pattern now with the recent bounce from the mean, which I believe is the average. Now, MVRV is at 40,500. There's potential for Bitcoin to surge to the 1.0 standard deviation line, which is currently sitting at 60,000. Now, if you'd love to see a 60,000 biddy, holla at your boy. On January 31st, Cointelegraph reported on the come down in another gauge measuring stablecoin supply versus the Bitcoin supply. The stablecoin supply ratio is now at 80%, below its all-time high just seen 3 months ago, boosting the odds of a Bitcoin price uptick. Elsewhere, the Ichimoku, there we go. The Ichimoku cloud analysis likewise keeps the overall Bitcoin bull market narrative firmly alive. After the retreat from the 2-year highs of 49,000 earlier in January, the Ichimoku's previously high bullish weekly chart setup also took some punishment. The price sank below the Tenkan-sen conversion line, and this has acted since its resistance, with the price unable to ascend any higher, as outlined here in the Bitcoin 1-week chart. And analyzing the potential for the midterm top based on the Ichimoku, however, popular trader CryptoCon warned that the January price may high and endure. People said there will be no more corrections with ETFs here, but that is obviously not true. CryptoCon concluded that this time is no different until the price clearly proves that it is, and it hasn't, as he shares here. At the touch of 49,000, Bitcoin reached a very important point on the weekly Ichimoku, the top of the red cloud. This had marked the mid-top with very high accuracy previous cycles, but in the event 49.1 was the high, this could have been the pinpoint. So there you have it. My crypto fam, let me know your thoughts. Can you see 60,000 incoming here soon? Let me know. And by what month? Holla. But let's now dive into our featured story of the day. Samson Mow shared his $1 million Bitcoin game plan. So here's his latest predictions, what he has up his sleeve as far as the Bitcoin price action is concerned. And welcome everyone just joining the stream. As you can see in the headline, Samson Mow justifies Bitcoin price with a $1 million game plan. I'm going to read this to you along with his latest tweets, okay? So here we go. Samson Mow, the highly vocal Bitcoin advocate and CEO of Jan3, had broken down the supply and demand thesis of the spot Bitcoin ETF product that might help in actualizing the $1 million Bitcoin price mark he has projected for Bitcoin. Taking on X, his official page, he noted that many people are missing something important with the spot Bitcoin ETF and the rate of accumulation. As a regulated investment product, a portion of the funds from the spot Bitcoin ETF products are typically invested in the underlying product, BTC. He used MicroStrategy as a point of reference, noting the company's last accumulations featured 14,000 BTC and 16,000 Bitcoin, a sum that was applauded at the time. And comparing this to the BlackRock iShares Bitcoin Trust IBIT, the average Bitcoin stack per day is approximately $200 million, which is equivalent to 4,700 BTC. He then highlighted Fidelity Investments, whose FBTC product buys approximately 175 million worth of Bitcoin per day. That's 4,200 Bitcoin per day. Let me read you the entire tweet. The most important thing with the Bitcoin ETFs that most people seem to miss is the rate of accumulation. The last few MicroStrategy mega stacks over 10,000 BTC were 14,600 and 16,100 BTC. Now, IBIT's average stack is 200 million a day, which is 4,700 Bitcoin, and FBTC, Fidelity's average stack is 175 million per day, which is 4,200 BTC. So check this out. Every 2 days, just 2 of the new 9 are hoovering up what MicroStrategy does in a good month. But more importantly, the IBIT and FBTC intake is 9,000 Bitcoin per day. Mining only supplies 900 per day. This is a factor of 10x. So demand from 2 ETFs alone is 10x the supply. Let that sink in, family. Supply is going to get cut in half in less than 3 months. You're damn right. There's Bitcoin halving around the corner, which means this demand will be 20x the supply. Can you say supply shock? And this demand is just 2 ETFs. Don't forget MicroStrategy. Don't forget Tether. And many more corporations are also accumulating along with nation states, high net worth individuals, plebs, and let's not forget sovereign wealth funds. We have Qatar sitting on $500 billion in their sovereign wealth fund. So he also shared here on January 28th, these are the Bitcoin macro indicators I am looking at. ETF inflows, hash rate, Finex, whale accumulation, 200, WMA trend, Tether, USDT, assets under management, government interest payments on debt, debt GDP ratios, nation state Bitcoin adoption, real inflation, as well as the M3 money supply. So with the combined buy-ups now pegged at about 9,000 BTC, Samson is convinced of the supply crunch that will be triggered once the spot Bitcoin ETF product attains full maturity. So with the positivity in the spot Bitcoin ETF market as concerns of the ongoing accumulation, Samson Mow highlights how the forthcoming Bitcoin halving event will help complement the growing Bitcoin supply shock. Samson pointed out that the estimated Bitcoin produced per day is pegged at 900 BTC, with the 9,000 Bitcoin units per day being bought by just 2 of the 11 spot Bitcoin ETF issuers only in the US. The investment vehicle's demand is 10x the supply, and he pointed out the halving will shift the demand to 20x the supply, a positive boost for the price. Samson has always defended his 1 million Bitcoin price forecast, and with this analysis, he advised money managers to plan accordingly. And let's not forget the infamous tweet thread he shared on January 8th, which I retweeted and wrote 1 million Bitcoin incoming. He says, here's why we're going to 1 million Bitcoin in days to weeks. It's max pain for people, for the most people. Bitcoin has a way of doing what we least expect and in the most disruptive way. And then he goes on to share, and maybe I'll highlight some of these for you. Number one, ideally, we have a good couple of years to onboard nation states at Jan3. Fast 1 million means we're out of time, aka Max Payne. 50 countries reach out frantically and we're overloaded. Talking about nation state adoption from Argentina, Colombia, Mexico, and the list goes on and on. All of the careful planning and proposals are out the door. Just smash buying that Bitcoin, no sleep for the team. Number two, fast 1 milli. Bitcoin means that plan B stock to flow model breaks yet again, just when it looking like things are on track again, Max Payne. And number three, Lightning is completely unusable for anyone not using a custodial wallet or Aqua Bitcoin. Fast 1 million means the fees are super high in dollar terms. No new Bitcoin users can afford to create a new Lightning network, Max Payne. I'm going to read two more for you of the 10. Number four, fast 1 million Bitcoin means Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy never reached their goal of stacking 1% of the Bitcoin supply. So close, so very close. They're currently at 0.9% family, and their ambitious goal is 5% over the long haul, which means they're looking to accumulate another 1 million BTC. He says Max Payne-ish upside as MicroStrategy is now in the top 30 most valuable companies on the world list. And I'll leave you with this one. El Salvador and other countries missed the window to issue Bitcoin bonds and accumulate substantial stacks of Bitcoin at sub 100,000, while the IMF debt still looms, Max Payne. So there you have it, my crypto fam. Let me know if you agree or disagree with this $1 million game plan for the King Crypto presented by Samson Mow. Holla at your boy.